A very warm welcome to this lecture on the kinds of helping verbs. Helping verbs are the verbs that are used before the main verbs to help find the tense of the main verbs. These are also known as auxiliary verbs. In English, the helping or auxiliary verbs are divided into 5 categories. Number 1, do, did, and does. Do, did, and does are always followed by the base form of the verb. For example, does he have enough score? Here, does is in auxiliary verb, helping verb. It helps the main verb, which is have here. Have is the base form of the verb. These are always followed by the base forms. Base forms are the forms of the verbs without all the prefixes and all the suffixes. We can add the prefixes and the suffixes. For example, with have we can add ing, having. We can add to have. Irrespective of the subject, these will always be followed by the base form of the verb, whether the subject is singular, plural, noun or pronoun. These words do, did, and does can be main verbs. For example, he does it by himself. For example, here does is the main verb, not an auxiliary verb, because it is not followed by any other main verb. Here it itself is a main verb. Similarly, did can also be a main verb. For example, he did it. Here did is a main verb. He did not do it. Did is an auxiliary verb. The second category is, am, are, was, and were. These can be followed either by the ing forms or the third forms of the verbs. If the sentence is active voice, these will be followed by the ing form. For example, she is singing. I am delivering a lecture. You are noting a lecture. You are noting the lecture. If the sentence is passive voice, these will be followed by the third form. For example, a cat was killed by him. We were invited. These can also be main verbs. For example, I am a teacher. Here am is a main verb, a linking verb. You are students. Here are is a main verb, a linking verb. The third category of has, have, and had. The third category of helping verbs is has, have, and had. These can be followed either by the third forms or been plus third form. If the sentence is active voice, these will be followed by the third form. For example, I have done it. Have is followed by done, which is the third form of the verb. If the sentence is passive voice, these will be followed by been plus third form. For example, it has been done by me. Again, has, have, had can be main verbs. For example, I have a car. Here have is a main verb, not an auxiliary verb, because it is not followed by any other verb. Here it is a pseudo transitive verb, a main verb. The fourth category is modal verbs: can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, and must. These are always followed by the base forms, as I discussed in the previous lecture. The fifth category is semi-modal verbs: has to, have to, had to, ought to, need not, dare not, had better, would rather, and used to. These are also followed by the base forms of the verbs, with the exception of two cases: would rather and used to. These two can be followed by the base form or the second form. Would rather can be followed by the base form or the second form. Similarly, used to can be followed by the base form or the ing form of the verb, as I discussed in the previous lecture.